households, or even more than that, and depending on the total number of people within that particular household.
Good. Now, the same household, what qualifies somebody to have a household?
Okay. Like, you will be like a responsible somebody, not any age, but it depends on who the family identify as the head of household. Here in our Gambian context, normally when you are married, the head is the husband. Exactly. Then you have the wife and the children and any other relative who is within the household.
Yeah. So the reason why I asked this is you go to some compounds, you see the elder,
exactly,
you know, who is regarded as the only household. When within that same compound, you have other children who are married and also responsible for themselves. Okay. Now, how do you treat this kind of situation?
If like you have your own children within the house and you have the elders with you, if they have their own catering arrangement and they are married but still within the compound, they will be counted as another household. Okay. And then you have the elders with their own household, and anybody within the compound, even it can come like here in the concept we have a lot of polygamy families. Now, if the husband is giving fish money to all of us within the compound, we are all the wives of maybe the head, but every morning he will give fish money to all the two wives and they cook separately, they will be counted as two households. That's good. But if the man is eating successively with all of them and all the children, those together form one household.
Thank you very much. I think that's clear. Mrs. Kaur,
yes.
Being the regional census officer for Serekunda 2, how far are you guys, you know, with the counting and stuff? Because I understand Serekunda is a big place.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Njai. I think that's even warranted to be divided into two, because the 2003 census, when I was a staff of GBOS and I was also the DC of Serekunda, that is the whole Serekunda. But this year, because of the population growth, Serekunda has been divided into two. Basically, I'm responsible for part of Serekunda West, part of Serekunda Central, then going to East. So I'm covering 308 EAs. So that's my boundary starting from Bundung Bantaba, Talinding, Fajikunda, and Abuko, and Latikunda Savije. As Mrs. Jallo rightly said, we started by the training of RCUs that was done in March, then which was followed by the training of trainers from the 18th of March to the 25th. Then the RCUs, this time the census was completely decentralized. We have 13 RCOs covering countrywide, and each was responsible for the recruitment, appointment, training of all the field staffs.
Yeah. Now, what is the level of cooperation, you know, from, you know, compounds or places that you've gone to get some of these figures?
Yesterday, my only challenge was with, how is it called, that place where they normally have this, the Sarahules. Is it
Dipokunda?
No, Bovozone.
Bovozone, okay.
Yeah, because I think it's the level of sensitization which was a bit late. I think that might be a contributing factor. Because yesterday, as Mrs. Jallo rightly said, all of my team were out. Despite the fact that some of them didn't have even institutions within their areas. But we decided that let's everybody be out. Because the floating population, nobody can determine. Because the floating population, one can be on the road, have a breakdown, and it becomes valid for that one to be interviewed. So as a result, everybody was on the ground. So when we went to Bovozone, the team went, I think they were a bit scared because all of us were putting on the advocacy material, that is the T-shirts and the cap. So waking them up on their beds. So some of them said, no, nobody is going to count me, much more taking my names and my details. It's better you go back in the morning.
Yeah, I think the level of understanding also.
Yeah, but then, however, it was addressed this morning.
Okay.
Because the DCO went, that yesterday morning we went, myself I was there, then the DCO went, did the sensitization, but they insisted, and unfortunately, there was no electricity, making things worse.
Wow, that's an appeal to NAWEC.
Yeah, that was our first appeal. We said, really, NAWEC should definitely come in full force.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
I think that's loud and clearly heard there by NAWEC officials. Mrs. Jallo, the census is very important.
Very.
Why do you think people really have to come forward and give information for this exercise?
I think it's one of the most important exercise in the country. It's a national task, and also it helps the government to plan. Without censuses, counting the total number of persons, and not only counting the total number of persons, but also some demographic aspect is related, like the age, the fertility, the school you attended. All those things are compiled, analyzed, and then we give the data to the government, because the government cannot plan without the Gambia Bureau of Statistics on this important census. So I think it's the duty of each Gambian, if you're within the territory of the Gambia, within our reference period, that please, you will be counted. Even if you're not counted, it's your duty as a Gambian to call the headquarters, Gambia Bureau of Statistics, and said, I've not been enumerated. Why should people be enumerated? The government should know the areas where the children, the school-going age, is like lacking. How many teachers will be trained for that particular settlement, or the district, or the LGA? They should also plan for the overcrowding. Housing is becoming a problem, especially in the urban areas. So they need to plan to know which area to build more houses for Gambians to avoid what we call the 5 giants, which is ignorance, squalor, want, and idleness. So if this can be avoided, it can only be avoided through censuses, so that government will plan very well with their policies and give each Gambian a comfortable living, as it is already been advocated in the country.
Now, recently we saw the beginning and the end of the demographic health survey, which just concluded recently, and we see the 2013 population and housing census, starting. What is the difference between the two? Because some people are beginning to, say, Jibos has just counted us and they are recounting us again. Why? So I think you need to create a difference here.
The demographic and health survey is the first time that it is conducted in the Gambia. But censuses have been conducted every 10 years. Why every 10 years? The lot of work involved, the planning, up to the level of producing the reports and giving this to the government. The quick count is done after the 3 weeks. The President of the Republic will come up and announce the total population on GRTS, as it is always done by him, being the head of the country. So you can see the importance then which is placed on censuses. So the demographic health survey deals mainly about malaria, HIV, something like that. And with the census, it covers every individual. Even a baby who is born before census night should be counted, even if you are not named. But if a baby dies after census night, that baby should not be counted. If a person dies after census night, that person should also not be counted. So the reference period also is very important, that whenever our enumerators come into your house, they should really back the 14th of April, which was the census night, come the 15th of April, how many members of your household slept here on census night? So we are not counting open-ended. We have a reference period so that everybody will be captured.
Good. Now, everyone everywhere in the Gambia and every house everywhere in the Gambia is the slogan for Jibos for this 2013